Let's go live now to the Shadow Communications Minister, Michelle Rowland. Thanks so much for your time, Michelle Rowland. The Minister Paul Fletcher was on the program about an hour ago. He says Labor cannot be trusted because of your track record. On NBN, he says 51,000 premises connected at a cost of $6 billion last time you were in office. What's your response?
Well, it's quite a bizarre statement coming from the Minister who, on his watch, the NBN has gone from being a $29 billion project to now a $57 billion project, 4 years behind schedule. It costs nearly twice as much and does at least half of what it should be doing. So it's pretty rich coming from Minister Paul Fletcher in his statements today, when it's very clear, I think people understand coming out of the pandemic, the reliance that Australians have as consumers, as small businesses, as workers, as students, on the best quality broadband and the need for that to be developed and delivered through fibre. And that's what Labor's announcement is all about today. We're going to be expanding fibre access to 1.5 million more homes and small businesses around Australia. 660,000 of those are going to be in the regions. Many of them are going to be in the suburbs. I see that Minister Fletcher calls this wasteful. Well, I look forward to every Liberal and National MP and candidate coming forward to back in Paul Fletcher to say that investing in fibre in the regions is wasteful. And let's also be clear, part of our announcement today is also about jobs. 12,000 jobs in this project being delivered through this extra $1.5 million access that's being provided. And also we have given an intrinsic commitment here, which is essential to ensuring that this repair job is completed under Labor, and that is that we keep the NBN in public ownership for the foreseeable future. Okay. I think this is very exciting. It's one that will be embraced by Australians. Previously
you said Labor's commitment was to have fibre to the home. That was the aim. This is fibre to the curb, and it's going to be demand driven. So that is adopting the government approach in that sense.
Well, indeed, we have to work with what we have at this point in time. And let's be very clear about what this government program is. In September last year, the single biggest, most expensive, most humiliating backflip in public policy history was committed by Paul Fletcher, when after so many years railing against fibre and promoting a multi-technology mix, including copper, they decided, hang on, we need to do this with fibre. So they have actually done the biggest backflip on earth. We will be working with what we have if we're fortunate enough to be elected. But again, this will be about ensuring that if people want that connectivity and those gigabit speeds, they are able to get it. And under our policy, an extra 1.5 million premises will benefit from exactly that.
But it's not fibre to the home, it's fibre to the curb. That's right, isn't it?
It's fibre that goes to a network distribution point in the street, and if a premise wishes to order it, they obtain a fibre lead-in, which under Labor will actually be built into the cost of the network, so it won't cost that consumer anything extra. So it goes from the network distribution point in the street to the house.
How will Labor pay for the commitment, $2.5 billion?
Exactly how it's being paid for at the moment. The NBN is an off-budget item. It's funded through a mix of equity, Commonwealth loans, and in the next couple of years, NBN Co will be generating free cash flows, which you'll be able to use to invest in its network. So that will be the way in which it'll be delivered.
Do you feel that this is now, given the pandemic experience of working from home for businesses, for households and so on, is this something that is treated now as an expectation as opposed to what previously might have been a cost or a luxury for households particularly?
Absolutely, and I think the pandemic has certainly brought this to the fore. People appreciating that there are limitations to what's able to be offered under copper. With the rise of 5G also, that will be a direct threat to the copper network, because 5G will be able to do so much more. But I think, again, coming back to people's individual experiences, it is beyond doubt that fibre was always the best approach. Labor had the right approach when it devised the national broadband network. The Liberals never agreed with it. The Nationals sold regional Australia down the river, and it was left to Labor to devise a plan that filled that gap where there was clear market failure in the provision of broadband. And I think it's very exciting to think that some 90% of the fixed line footprint in Australia under Labor's policy will be able to have access to those gigabit speeds.